I'm like, right. In New York City, I'm like, all right, God, I trust you, but you can come in here. We go straight in your room and turn off the TV.
Being a mommy is one of the most rewarding titles to have.
But we all know that it can be very challenging at times. Here on Mommy Crew Talks, we want to talk about the highs and lows of motherhood.
We will be sharing our experiences with one another and you.
We are not perfect, but we can give you some support and encouragement to continue to be the best mommy you can be.
Hello and welcome to the second season of Mommy Crew Talks. And I'm here with these beautiful moms. And today we're talking about motherhood and what it means to us and what we thought it was going to be, what we didn't think it was going to be, what we have to go through. So, ladies, mommies.
Yes. Hello.
What was your first thought about being a mom? Like before you were a mom, what kind of mom did you want to be?
I'll start first. The kind of mom that I wanted to be was just a good mom, right? A mom that wanted to do everything right. So I thought, right? I thought that it was easy. So I wanted to be one of those moms that can give my child everything that they wanted, needed. Because, in the era that I grew up, it was like the crack era, and I seen a lot of my friends didn't have, stability. So I vowed that my children would never have to go through that. So I wanted to be a good mom.
Of course. Tisha.
For me, I definitely wanted to mirror Claire Huxtable.
No.
Just that mom that really put the law down, but she was there for the kids. And then just watching my mom, like she made everything look easy. Everything was handed to me in a silver spoon. So I wanted to be that mom, but
Right.
yeah.
April.
Well, I really had no idea of what type of mother I wanted to be. Everything that I do in life is kind of like, all right, let's do it. And I had no thought about what it was going to mean and what I wanted it to be when I first entered motherhood.
All right. What were you guys most afraid of before you had children? What were you most afraid of?
Well, what I was most afraid of and what I ended up doing was becoming a single mother. I never wanted to be a single mother. You see them, they make it, they do what they have to do. But being a single mother was just like a curse to me. And I turned around. And because of choices I made, I became a single mother. And people can become a single mom for many reasons. You can get involved with someone who just doesn't grow when you grow. So, but that was what it was. Being a single mom was something I did not want to do.
For me, well, the scariest thing for me was not being able to provide. Because, when you see other mothers struggling with their children, I didn't want to be that mom that was struggling. I just I wanted to make sure I have a job, I can be able to take care of this child. I don't want to leave my child on anyone. I don't want to have to depend on anybody. Exactly. So I think that was more of a drive for me. I mean, I was always working, but it's like, continue working because you got to take care of this baby. You got to take care of this baby. You don't want to struggle. So struggling and not being able to provide, that was my biggest fear, actually.
For me, it was I didn't want to be a statistic. So I got pregnant at 19 and everyone in my family they were married when they had babies. So it was like, okay, now here she is, she's a young mother and I definitely proved everybody wrong. I'm not a statistic. None of my children will be statistics. So
That's right. You better say it.
That's right. What was your fear, ma'am?
My fear was actually, this is the craziest thing I could think of, but like losing a child, right? So I've had difficulties in pregnancy. So that was my fear that, thank God my first child was the child that I kept, but after that, I was having miscarriage after miscarriage. So that's my fear, and it's still my fear about becoming a mother again, is like not being able to hold the pregnancy as long as I can. Yeah, that was deep. Y'all don't understand. No, right?
Because, it was,
Right. So I know everybody has different age children, and what is it now to you guys? What is it now?
It's another book. It's another book to be written.
Exactly.
What you thought it was, I was thinking today, and I said, motherhood is like stages. And I think sometimes we all, and I can't speak for everybody, but we make a comparison. Well, she's doing this, or they're doing this, and we know the Bible says not to compare yourself. It's not wise. And I found myself like, oh, this parent, and there's no perfect home. And sometimes you look at people because of the facades they put on when they come outside, and it's like, oh, their kids are perfect. And as I was listening to Crystal speak in the 80s, my mother had 9 kids. My dad was there, but they didn't have it like that. So we didn't have the Lees, we didn't have the Oshkosh, but we were in the house getting manners, sitting at tables, setting the table. But as a young person, I hated my parents. Like, I don't want to be in here. I want to sit on the stoop with everybody else, eating pizza, eating Chinese food, staying outside till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. But back then, I didn't realize. You don't realize till you get older. Oh, this is what they were trying to do. Now I can go in a restaurant, eat with a knife and a fork. But when everybody else, it's Easter, they don't even take their kids to church, but they're running for 50 outfits to go to Coney Island. That's what I wanted to do. I'm like, here we are going to church looking like bums, and they going, but so you see that, and then you get older, you're like, okay, so, and you don't always get it right. You're not gonna always get it right. It's no manual, so it's just stages.
And just to piggyback off of Leslie, we had the best of both worlds. Excellent. I was able to get the Lees and the Oshkosh and still sit down and get the manners and sit down and go to church every Sunday. But it was what was going on around me, and then I began to feel bad because I did have cousins that wasn't as fortunate as I was, and I used to take that burden and guilt on. But then one day in church, it was like a light bulb that clicked off and was like, well, you can't take that burden because your parents was responsible. So I had to stop taking on the guilt and the burdens of others because of what their parents didn't do. And my parents, they were good stewards over the gifts that God gave them, which was us. So
I feel that for me, the change came when I realized that they are human individuals. I feel like a lot of the times when the first question that you asked basically was like, what did you think motherhood would mean to you, right? And I had no thoughts about it, and I have an 18-year-old, well, he's 17, he'll be 18, but he always tells me, I really didn't ask to be here, right?
That's me.
And I'm, but you know what?
He's right.
He's correct.
He's right.
He didn't ask to be here, so I'm really like, he's mine, but he's not mine, right? He's God's, right? As soon as he gave him to me, I have to give him back to him. So I think I've become more of a manager, right?
Nice.
So
Mommy
I'm
manager.
like, I'm managing.
Yes.
So right now it's more of me trying to get them to be the people that God intends them to be through discovering who they are. And sometimes it's a struggle. It's a struggle because it's like trying to understand that I did things, right? And I went through things and I battled with things, but it made me who I am.
That's right.
And sometimes we try to shield them from the things that we went through. We try to hold them back from the things that we tried to give them everything, like you ladies were saying, so that they didn't feel how we felt. However, they're still gonna have situations and they're still gonna have issues. And the best thing that I can do is teach them how to navigate this world that they didn't ask to be in.
Well, my daughter, she's going to be 18, and some things that she's doing in high school, I did. But I'm trying to block her from certain behaviors.
Right.
And then my sister had to tell me, you did the same thing, right? And I'm like, so? She ain't got to do it, right? But I learned a lesson back then. I had to learn it on my own. I was going to do it whether my mother said so, whoever. And I had to realize, like, okay, Crystal, take off the clanks and just let her be who she is, right? We were fighting back, like, we are getting into heavy arguments because it's like now a power struggle. She's trying to find herself, and I'm like, no, do it this way. And I had to ask her, I was like, why are you stressing yourself, Crystal? Like, what the heck? Let her do it. And if she falls, that's what my job is to be there.
That's
like,
right.
Well,
Yes.
you know, you have to learn this way. So I'm releasing, because she is going to college soon. So I need to learn to release the.
Well, you
And-
would never
and-
see.
and
you
you
would
right.
never see.
Right, it's true.
You've done a fantastic job with her. And the thing I think we have to remember, one of my best friends tells me this all the time. We make our children, but we don't make our
their
minds, right?
Right.
And so we are so in love with them. It's like, I don't want you to experience this. I did it already. But they're going to. And the hardest part is, like you said, that same friend told me, she said, you and your daughter have an awesome relationship. Don't mess it up. Because I'm like, don't do this. You shouldn't do this. Don't go there. This is what they do, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, listen, let her make her mistakes and just be there to pick her up. And that's it. And I'm like, so it's like putting a piece of tape over your mouth, like, I can't watch this. You know, but she's like, Mom, I just need your support. And I'm like, I'm going to support you. Lord help me.
And it wasn't, you know what, too? I used to do that because my I have 3 older kids and 1 baby. But, you know, I used to be on them. And then one day it was like something clicked. It was like, Crystal, just really explain to them why you're doing it. And once I like really sat them down and from my heart explained to them, like, listen, I'm only doing this because I love you, right? If I didn't love you, I would not care what you do, where you do it at, and who you do it with. But because I love you, and I really like poured myself out to my kids, and that kind of like touched them in the area. And it was so minute as to just when you get where you're going, just call me, text me,
Right.
let me know.
You said it. No,
Right.
no.
They miss it every now and then, but at the same time, like, it'll trigger back in them, like, you know, mommy poured herself, so I think it's all in the way we convey it to them, like, say it instead of like drilling it.
Communication.
Just, you know.
So what happens when you convey it in a way where, you know, they should understand? You're old enough to understand what you're doing. You're not yelling. You're coming to them on their common ground. You're speaking on a low-level tone. But then they still turn around and doing the same thing that you're telling them not to do. And then it becomes combative.
So,
Now they want to go back and forth, back and forth.
This is where I am in my
so my husband and I, we have different parenting styles, right?
I agree.
And it's so funny because yesterday in the morning, every day we tell them, you know, you have to be to the bus stop at a certain time. Your bus comes at a certain time, right? And you can't be late because we have a younger one that somebody has to drive to school. I have to leave and go to a different city, so I can't take you to school, and we can't make the little one late. So you guys are old enough, you know you have to do this. This is what you're supposed to do. Every morning they wake up late. They're running for the bus. One or the other will miss the bus, right? And they have to be driven. So yesterday was the breaking point for my husband because he's been out of work, but he's going back to work. So now he's worried that I'm not going to be in the house and nobody's going to be there.
They're going to be hanging out.
Right.
And that's a great
it's going to miss,
Yeah.
right? So yesterday morning it happens and he starts going off, right? And I'm going to work and I start going off on him, right? Because I'm like, I don't need this. I'm trying to go into battle on my own at a job, and I don't need this morning because, like, he's like, I've been saying this, and it's combative, and I'm like, look, I don't need this. Now we have a problem, and the whole house has a problem, and it doesn't need to be that way, right? Because for me, the way I see it and the way I take it is, right? There's always, like, I give it all to God. I'm gonna always give it all to God, right? And there are times when I'm late for work And I'm like, there's a reason.
That's right.
Right? I shouldn't have been there. I don't know what could have happened. There's a reason. Oh,
That's
well, I'm
right.
going to make it there. And I feel the same way with the kids. You know, sometimes but like I said, give it back to them, right?
That's right.
There are things that I don't want to happen. I want them to call me when they get places. I want them to
Would
let
be
me know
nice.
where they're going to be. But guess what? Worry is a sin.
I'm not gonna kill myself.
Right? And I have to pray. I have to cover them.
That's
I have to protect
So-
them. And I have to let them go into the
So
world.
how you
and
getting them
do-
to school?
Well,
In the
how did,
natural.
in the natural, what happened was, I'm like, you know what? What did I say? There's a reason for everything. You going crazy about it, guess what? I'm going to take her to school. If I'm late, I'm late. And guess what? I wasn't late.
So it works itself out.
It's going to work itself out. So,
But Tisha, I understand what you're saying, because it comes to that point. I remember when my son started getting older, and it's like, oh, we're gonna go back and forth. I love God, I know the Bible,
Right.
being disrespectful.
That's right.
Here we
That's
go.
right.
Throw it in that
That's
room,
right.
and then I have to say, Leslie, this is not 1970s, 80s. We have to handle it differently
That's right.
than they handle it, because I'm from a West Indian background. They like you said, what? Fat, your mouth, whatever. But it's a different day. But I have to remember when that phone rings, Mommy, may I? Can I? Because my children are grown. My
Right.
son Denzel is 26. He just turned. Diamond's 21. You know, 2 different kids, and that's what I had to learn. 2 kids, same mother, same father,
Right.
but 2 different personalities.
That's
I don't know
absolutely.
who this boy is. I love him with all my heart. He's my first child. He opened the womb, but the boy is not mine. They switched him. Because I'm like, did this boy just call me to ask me for something? He didn't even say, Ma, how you doing? You alive?
Yeah, he did that.
I
He
said,
did
no, who are these kids?
He did.
Because I called my aunt, my grandmother, my family, hey, how you doing? So if I ever needed anything, I could just call and say, oh, yes, I didn't have to give a whole life story. They
Right.
might yell, but you're going to get it. But him, he doesn't care. He doesn't follow any rule you gave him. But he'll be like,
That's my
can you
son.
help me? I'm like,
Must be Virgos.
There's not only Virgo, because I'm telling you, here goes an incident.
mine just don't.
I'm washing dishes on a Saturday morning, probably Sunday. I get a phone call from my cousin's girl, and she was like, hey, is Kidani over there? This is her son. I'm like, oh no, he's not here. She was like, cause you know the boys went to a party last night and they went at an Airbnb. I'm like, they went to a party? Let me go check the room. No child, no, 2 boys actually. The oldest and the second oldest. No one was in the room. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute now.
There's no kids here.
Where was this party? The Airbnb was in another borough in Queens. No one asked. No one answered any phones.
See, that's that.
I was livid. Livid. I'm like, what you telling me? So they must have Airbnb party last night? Okay, wait a minute. I gotta call you back. I started calling phones. Of course, you know, I'm on D&D. Do not disturb. Okay? I'm on D&D.
No, nobody anyway.
I kindly left a message. I said, let me tell y'all something. When y'all come, well, however y'all get in this house, or come to this house, whatever clothes y'all see in that hallway, grab the bundle and exit stage left. Don't come back in this house. Do not come back in this house because you're being very disrespectful.
Yeah.
Very disrespectful. You're not a grown man, you ain't paying your own bills, you ain't buying your own underwear, your toiletries, or nothing like that. You ain't getting no haircuts, you ain't doing none of them things.
Can't even bake properly.
Can't even wash your A-double-S properly.
And you're sleeping out.
And you sleeping out. 18 and 16. But you at Airbnb and got me on D&D.
Hello.
You know, lost your
And who
mother.
pays the phone bill?
Me.
That's
I'm not even gonna touch on who pays the phone bill.
On one of them.
I'm not gonna even touch on who pays the phone bill because I called the people that pay the phone bills. I said, let me tell you something. Turn it OFF off.
my husband turned off their data yesterday. He was like, I turned their data off. All they could do is call and text.
Wait a minute. I want to say something, but you was about to say something, and I'll say something after.
Oh, I was going back to the question where you said we're in like different stages. So I feel like I am in different stages. So my oldest is 18. She's doing that, which you always try all the time. Even last night, and my mother, she's Jamaican, we're Jamaican, and she's a warrior. So she'll sit by the window away from. I'm like, because my mother lives on the first floor. I'm like, I'm going to sleep.
That's right.
I'm going to sleep because there's nothing I can do. I'm not sitting up. I got other kids.
Right.
That's 18. We're going through a battle now. Then I have 13 where she's trying to find herself. She's making friends. She's the good girl of the bunch. She's the favorite child.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't.
It's
I
the
said
truth
it.
and
I
honesty.
said it.
Quite.
I said it. They know it.
Today.
But she's like responsible, but she's trying to find herself now, where it's like I'm talking too much to her, and I'm like, I don't expect this from you. Like you,
Not
the good
you.
one. Like what are you doing? But then I have an 8-year-old who thinks she's in the middle of the 13 and the 18, and she wants to do everything that they do, right? So she wants to know, why do I have an iPhone 8? I need an iPhone 13. And I should have it today.
yeah, she ate.
Where you been?
My 8-year-old just said
I should
that.
have it today. And my dumb
Today.
ass went to try to order it this
Yeah.
morning because I'm like, okay, you do need a new phone. And then I have a 2-year-old who is going through temper tantrums and terrible twos, and I've never experienced this before. So I'm like, what is going on here? I'm fighting with you. You're trying to fight with me. You're trying to find yourself, and then you're crying all the time. So I'm really in like so many different spaces, and then I'm still trying to navigate living in my home by myself without a spouse. And you know, I'm dating now, so it's like I'm trying to do everything, trying to be myself,
Balance.
trying to have my own life,
Right.
giving more to God, going through prayer, therapy, and then I have all these personalities, and then I'm an only child, so my mother is also my dependent. So I have 5 personalities, and I'm like, how am I doing this? You know, as a mother, I don't know.
And you still look good, girl.
You want me to tell you
You
why?
look good.
You want me to tell
Still
you
look
why?
good, girl.
No.
I defined me being a mother as the quote, jack of all trade, but master of none. That's me.
Seriously.
Because at the end of the day, as mothers, as women, period, we wear a billion hats.
Absolutely.
God knew what he was doing, no offense, guys, but God knew what he was doing when he blessed women to do what we do. Patience came out of nowhere. Compassion came out of nowhere. Understanding came out of nowhere. And I'm like, wait, God, why am I crying? Like, what's going on? Why?
Right.
But God be like allowing me to see, like, wait a minute, it's something deeper than the behavior. Like, get to the root of the behavior before you start to, you know, because it's easy to do this.
Yep.
But once you get to the root of that, you can understand, and then now we can work toward, you know, getting the help or whatever that they need. But we the jack of all trades. We master none of them, but
One thing I did learn while I'm watching, you know how you get older and you say, okay, I did this at this age. We're still growing. A lot of us had babies young. I had my first child at 21, and I thought that I was going to stay with the dad, with my children's father, but I didn't. But so you're growing at the same time. And I remember my grandmother, who was my backbone at the time. I had a strong family, let me say that, but she was my village, and my son would go in the fridge 100 times a day, and I'd be like, oh, it's just food. I work nights. I work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I was tired. I don't care if he left his socks at the door, but I should have. I don't care if he went in the fridge 20 times. It's food. I'll buy it tomorrow. But she was building a different kind of principle that I wasn't paying attention to. Because then when he got older, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to work. I come back. I need these dishes washed when I come back. Or, did you save me anything to eat? The groceries that I bought, did you save me? Oh, I didn't think you wanted any because you didn't. And it takes me back. My grandmother's in her grave. Love you, Granny. And I know if she gave, she'd be like, I told you, you wasn't listening. But it's just so much happens, like you said. All these things start happening at once. And you just have to react what you know best. So when you were talking earlier about the cell phone, and it made me think, the first time I took my son's cell phone away, I went, all right, idiot. So how you going to reach him again?
Right.
So then I was like, and then I put him out. And then I went inside and called my grandmother, like, I put him out. And then I started crying. And then I was like, I don't know, it's snowing outside. My kids are going to Florida. Where's he going to go? I looked on the stoop. He was on the stoop. I'm like, okay, so do I go and tell him to come in here? I'm crying. I'm like, right. In New York City, I'm like, all right, God, I trust you, but you can come in here. We go straight in your room and turn off the TV. Because I'm bad. And I think sometimes as a single mother, I'm not making excuses, but I noticed, I compensated. I don't care if it was Dollar General, Family Dollar. My kids were born in Florida. They didn't take the school bus. I dropped them. I picked them up in the Circle Line. And so I felt like, no, Daddy, it's my fault for picking this dumb SOB. God forgive me. You know, people change. But, you know, at the time, that's how I felt. I said, I picked this man. So if I picked this man, these are the kids I had. God bless me with these kids. He could take any situation and turn it around.
Absolutely.
I still compensated. If you be good, you go in this store, I'm going to buy you something. That is not good. because then they start feeling entitlement. I don't care if it's little stuff or big stuff. They don't deserve it. I grew up with people in East New York that mother and father bought everything they wanted, and I don't want to tell you where they are today, but it wouldn't be around this table because entitlement. And these kids grow up and they feel that I'm supposed to have this to keep up with the Joneses. No, is your room clean? Did you do your homework? What is your plan? I gave my kids the best that I could give them. I didn't sleep with Tom, Dick, and Harry to get it. I worked. You understand?
That's right.
But however you get it, whatever you got to do, because listen, I take my hat off to the sisters who do what you got to do, sis. I'm not dissing you. But you're not going to tell me how to spend my money if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in this house. You got to walk around with that Obama phone. Enjoy yourself.
I'm glad you said something that really rang about entitlement. And what I find now in this set of children that are coming up is they're very entitled, right? Entitled to the point where they do think they deserve
Just for being here.
right? Just like, oh, so you gonna have me go outside and look like this? Like, yeah, so you got a shirt and a pants and some shoes on. Yeah, but. Like Leslie said, for me, it's compensate. Like, I'm like, dang, I don't want to look crazy.
Right. I want to look crazy.
You don't want to be the left out one. How much is the Yeezys? How much are they? Hold on. So she's like, and my daughter's like, because she's my only one. She's like, I'm your only child.
She is.
What else you gonna spend this money? I'm like, on myself. Right?
Speaking of Yeezys, I won some Yeezys today, and I posted it on Instagram.
You won?
I
won 2 weeks ago.
Listen, I posted on Instagram. My daughter sends me a message. What size are these? I said,
They're not yours.
my size. She put ... I'm like, what does that mean? Oh, never mind. Enjoy your Yeezys.
Oh, and I would have said, I will, thank you very much.
Because they don't think that you deserve anything.
You know, share my post, let everybody know your mommy didn't want me. We're mommies, but we like to look nice too. We want to be in all those nice things, you know.
Especially when you work for it.
Exactly.
So wait a minute, did you get her the Yeezys?
Yes,
Of course you
She's wearing it right now.
She's wearing it right
That's
now.
how my 8-year-old, she was like, Mommy, I'm the only one that has an iPhone with the button. I said, I'm pretty sure, because she had an 8 plus, right? 8, right? Well, 7. I said, well, Skylar, I'm pretty sure you're the only one at 7 that has an iPhone, period. But, you know, her little book came out, so I said, babe, let's just, get her the 12 for Christmas. She opened it, she was so grateful, but she said, but you and Daddy got the 13. I said,
You know what?
My 8-year-old, I got AirPods with an iPhone.
I just feel we have to make them when you can, because you don't remember. Just try, because I look back, I say, gosh, I wish I did this. I wish I didn't do that. I should have did this. But I'm not beating myself up. No. I'm just taking my experiences like we're doing here, and I tell other people, like, this is what I did, this is what I would have done. But we all come from different experiences, some different nationalities, some different background, fatherless home, and I don't beat myself up anymore. I made the decision based on what I thought was the correct thing to do at that time.
That's right. You know what? I have this conversation a lot with my husband, because we parent from where we came from and how we were parented, right? And I have to tell my husband, I'm like, our children are not from or in any of the type of situations that we were in.
Yes.
So the things that you were trying to, instill in them, knock in place, it's not really, I'm not going to say it's not necessary, but they don't need it right now. So they don't see the need for it, They're not worried about certain things. Like, you're like, why were you thinking this? Because they're not worried. You should be happy that your child is secure enough and feels safe enough to not be worried about those things and not think about those things, right? So it's like when you're going off about, well, you're gonna need to do this, you're gonna need to do that. They look at us and they're like, I'm always gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna be safe.
You know what? I think I'm like your husband, because I'm like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, because God forbid if I'm not here today or tomorrow, how are you gonna fend for yourself?
That's it.
Right? So then that's when you saying those things, it would make me laugh, because I am on my children like that all the time, because I want them to know that you have to have a plan, and not A. You need to have a plan A, B, C, D. Because when A ain't working out, you better run to B. When B ain't thinking, run to C. Because if I'm asking you what you want to do, you want to tell me YouTube. YouTube. What about YouTube? What you gonna do on YouTube? I'm gonna make videos. Okay, cool. There's people out there making videos and making money, you know. And it's so crazy because when I took them, I never forget. I went to the high school fair that they used to have before COVID, and I asked a couple of children. So okay, so what you want to do when you grow up? Everybody answered was YouTube.
Cause that's it. My daughter is addicted to YouTube.
Now it's TikTok.
Yeah, my daughter's a TikTok.
People are making money off of it, but it's easy to say. It's just like a long time ago when you asked the boys, what you want to do? I want to play basketball. If you don't have your behind on that court 50 hours a week, then you ain't want to do basketball.
That's what I'm saying.
Talking crap.
Because when my son
and they're
said
hearing
that,
you, Tish. Tell me. They
tell you.
keep it up because they're hearing
when
you.
my son said he want to do basketball too, I said, okay, you want to do basketball? I don't see you getting up early at the crack of dirt on that field playing by yourself and working on your moves.
Exactly.
But how
I
about
said-
your grades first,
No,
though?
and then your grades. I said, and guess what? Coach ain't putting you on that court, bro. If you can't even get
That's
them
right.
grades up. I said, it's not what you want, it's how bad you want it.
That's
if you
right.
want it that bad, you're gonna be up at the crack of dirt in the
Good.
gym, doing whatever you gotta do to go get at least drafted to the NBA something. Get yourself together.
You're absolutely
Get
right.
yourself together, but you're not serious. You want to be lazy. I say you can't sit there and it's gonna come to you. It ain't coming to you.
Why, if you want to do YouTube, why you not doing it now?
Yeah, you don't have
It
to.
sounds good.
Because they want to give an
It sounds
answer.
good.
Yes, and see, with you, I noticed you one of the parents, you keep on them, right? They won't have that conversation with you. My son does that. Other strangers ask him, I said, what did he tell y'all? He don't want to say it in front of me because he knows my eyes like, yeah, okay. I heard that 30 times.
Right.
But I wanted to say to you, Tish, stay on them because the stuff my mother, my parents, my grandma stuff said, I didn't hear it then. But now that I'm
gonna
older,
come.
my grandmother's going different stuff. I'm like, oh, that's okay. So it's gonna click. But I do have to say this. One time I lived upstairs from my aunt, and she said, Leslie, I hear you up there blowing a blood vessel every day. I'd be like, every time you leave the house, you should take out the garbage. Why is there dishes in my sink? She said, all they're hearing is, wah. Especially your boy. He's hearing womp womp. You sound like Charlie Brown. And I had to say, oh. Because she said, he does not hear it. I hear you every day. She said, you're saying the same thing every day. So then I had to think about it. I said, Leslie, be quiet and just watch him. And sometimes I stood back and then I see them doing things and I stopped the yelling and the fussing.
That's what I
Especially
was
if we
talking
come
about
back
earlier.
from the yelling and the fussing generation. My father, I love my dad. Dad, if you watch this, don't get mad at me. My father was a whole old class disciplining Jamaican. A lot of displaced, they ain't getting there, whatever. But we got, it's truth. You got beat for stuff. You be like, what the heck? Look at these kids today. They need to be strung up and hanging and beat. But my point is,
Jail time.
hello, he said it. But the truth is, I hated it because it was a little severe, not a lot severe. But the truth is, I didn't allow my kids to get beat. My brother might have beat them one time, and sometimes I work in a very Caucasian atmosphere. When I be like, I know I will beat. Oh, sorry, can't say I didn't hear. I will grab. Oh, sorry, y'all. Go to class, But my thing is, you have to watch what you say. But these kids, and y'all know I love God. I'm a little crazy, but I know my word, and it says the rod of correction will drive it out. And the rod of correction doesn't have to be a belt. It's whatever measure it is. Oh, you thought you was going to that party Friday night? Oh, I don't
Absolutely
think
not.
so. Get in your room. No, and so it breaks
I
them.
love that revenge.
And it breaks. No, it breaks you too.
It don't
breaks
work
you
for
too.
me because
It
guess
breaks
what?
you
They
too.
already at the party. I don't even know the location. Nothing. I don't know the location.
If the location comes off, your phone is off.
Yeah, phone is off.
Because
Yeah.
you're grown now.
I don't know
You don't
location.
No.
All I know, we had the B&B. Don't even say air no more. We had the B&B.
DMV.
So I asked you how old your sons were because my son, he actually asked me, right, if he can go to this to Airbnb. But I said no. Right? And he's like, you
Ain't
see,
true.
that's why I don't want to tell you nothing. And but
Shit.
I like you when you get on them and just get on them, you have to like change it. Like
I've
you said,
tried to
because-
change it. I've tried to switch it where I don't come off too harsh or anything. And I say, I only ask you guys these things because God forbid something happened and something happened and you're there and they're saying, oh well, where was the parent or how am I as the mom don't know where my children are?
Because they don't tell me.
And then something happens and I can't be there to even, I'm supposed to be y'all voice when y'all don't have anything. How can I know what's going on if you guys don't tell me?
They're not looking
But
at
you
that,
know
like
what,
she said.
Tish?
They're not looking at that.
You can't fault yourself. And I'm gonna say like this. leave the house one way. And when they get home, get to school,
Change it up.
lace stockings, okay? Rip at that. They already laced, but now you rip them too. Skirts up here. And I put, do your mama know you got that on? Cause I'm taking you right now to the guidance counselor. We about to make a whole phone call. Cause I know your mother don't know you got that on. And why I started doing that, because when my sons was in junior high school, my mom used to pack them like the dopest lunch, y'all. Oh my God. Like, that you know my
When they get
mom.
fried chicken and
She knows my mother. My mother will feed you, but she used to pack them the dopest lunch. Don't you know these two? Went to school and started selling the
My friends
lunches,
did the same
right? And then the behavior that they had outside of me when I got to the school, they was like, nah, you not they moms. I was like, yes, I am. And what did they do? And it was just by the grace of God, I had them cool administrators in there that I did what I did, how I did it. But they don't know. Like, don't beat yourself up because you don't know where they at. They can tell you, mommy, I'm going to PS44 Park. And when you go and try to surprise them, they all the way on the other side at 57. Like, you don't know.
I'm texting all
Another
day
thing,
long
people
with information.
never say never.
No,
Because you don't know what your
you
kids are
don't
gonna
know.
say.
Right.
Because I was, as Crystal was thinking, I was thinking when I used to, even before I worked at a school, I went to school in Florida. I'm at my bus stop. I thank God my mother was always the mother we could talk to. I don't diss anybody who had to hide. My mother, even my friends came over, was like, they want to talk to my mother. We always had a, when I was having sex, I was like, Mom, so me and this guy, she's like, I don't want to hear this. But I love that. Crystal knows my mom. I love the open relationship, and that's what I always pray, and that's why I try to keep it open with my daughter when she tells me stuff. I'm like, Lord, help me to handle this like a friend and not a mother, because I want to, you know. But I say that to say, I was at the bus stop. I went to a Seventh-day Adventist church at the time. The girls were putting on lipstick, and I'm like, why are they hiding it? Like, I didn't understand, because I could tell my mother anything, talk to her. They at the bus, they change it at the bus stop. In Florida, you go to school 6:30 in the morning. It's still dark outside. I'm like, what is happening out here? Like, I could get dressed whatever I want to wear at home. So she's right about that. And then we can prejudge the parents. It's just like you hear something on the news. The first thing you say is, where's his mother? Where was the father? Sometimes these people have fabulous parents, and they get in their influence. And we have to remember, this is a day that you're not just competing with the devil, you're not competing with the Joneses, you compete with social media, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, all these people. I'm a human being. You put all that behind in my face, you show, listen, I used to be skinny before this. I didn't even know that I was going to be fat one day, right? So I knew I would have been naked more. Now I want to be more naked, but I'm saying that, you argue with them. One time, okay, I'm going to be quiet. One day, my daughter was going to church. We go to the same church. And some people let their kids come in there looking like how they want to do. I'm old-fashioned with my grandmother. We're not going into the house of God. You're going to have respect. You have respect at the jury duty. You have respect in your, you're going to have respect in the house of God.
That's right.
We go in there, and I notice, I'm looking at the time, I'm like, my kids know I don't play about church. And I'm like, okay, I know daggone well this girl did not put on her dress, and we got to get to church. I'm saying it to myself, something is up. They know their mother not stupid. I see the girl, it's 10 minutes for us to get in that car. And the girl's still ain't dressed. I said, what's going on, Diamond? She's like, oh, I was waiting to put on my dress when we walk out the door. I said, she's trying to put some hotsy-totsy. Today is the day. She put on that dress. She was like, well, such and such mother. I said, such and such mother is not me.
That's
you
right.
got two choices. Let me pick or you pick. Don't play with me 5 minutes before church start. Now I got to get my mood right because I'm about to punch you, you know, whatever. But it was so funny. I said, girl, if you don't take off, I don't want to say the nationality of the dress I said. If you don't go take off that dress, not in this house, honey. But the thing about it is, I never want my child to say, you know, let's compromise. It could be a little tiny bit. How old? I think it should be age appropriate.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And even with you and your sons at the B&B, thanks for teaching me. That's the good thing about working in a kids' school. You learn the
You
word.
learn all the lingo.
It's the B&B now, huh?
The B&B, not Airbnb, the B&B.
What was the resolve? What happened? How did you end it? Did you knock them? What happened? They just took the bags and left? Or?
No, okay, hold on.
We begged for them to come back
Listen,
in
they
now.
begged.
Yes, we begged.
Crystal and Tamika begged for them to stay.
But to have
the
good
oldest
friends.
one was like, first of all, the oldest one said, well, I ain't going nowhere because I ain't got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fight with him because he's strong. He's strong. He said, well, I said, let's go, you gotta go. I said, you know what, I'm calling the cops. The 16-year-old Tamika guy said, he gonna say, that's crazy. How you gonna call the cops on your son? That's crazy. The other one just sitting there like, well, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't nowhere to go to school. I said, let's go. You gotta go. Get out. I ain't going nowhere.
But at the end of the day, you was more stressed out than them.
I was more stressed than them, and they was all like, no, Xavier was a little stressed too, because he was upset, because I said I was calling the cops. I said, you gotta go, because you know what, you have no respect for me, go and fend for yourself outside of this house. You can't give me that respect. I don't mind y'all going and having fun, because I love to have fun. I said I will never be that parent to say, oh no, you can't go, because I love to go out. But give me the respect to say, Ma, can I go here? Can I go there? Oh, it's gonna be here, whatever. Even if like you said, sometimes they might say, I'm going here, and it goes somewhere else. Still give me the respect to say, Ma, can I go?
Right.
Exactly. Still give me that respect. Don't take it to playing something that you have enough to sleep out in a whole nother bottle.
And God forgive us. I always say, if something happened to you, it's my insurance got to bury you behind us, right?
That part.
You don't want to say that kind of stuff, but it's like, I need to know at all times.
At all times.
I had to ask God to cut the umbilical cord. I did because my health started taking a toll, and when my health started taking a toll, no. I mean, I love you.
Right.
You're my children, but at the end of every day, when I start having massive migraines every night, when I start feeling nauseous, and I'm 47 years old.
And you look good, girl.
You what?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm 47 years old with 3 grandkids. Ain't nobody got time for that.
And God has really blessed you, Crystal. I'm going to tell you why. Because I've always, and I have several friends like you that raised one set of children, and then you went back years later and had another one. So to me, I kind of call that the do-over. So you get blessed because I don't say that, there's nothing wrong with our first set of kids, but that was the learning. Now you know what to do. It's no second guessing. You just got a clean slate. And I'm not saying that you guys are perfect and y'all won't make mistakes because we're human. But at least you know, like sometimes I did wish, God, you would have blessed me with a good man. I would have had another one.
But you know, that was that, and not to
tell me
cut
this,
you,
because you said it before.
Not to
this
cut
one is
you.
getting everyone that the other ones.
That took a toll on me because, like Leslie said, it was the choices that I made, who I chose to have my kids by, right? Okay, so I had to make a decision. Do I stay on welfare, get $145.50 bi-weekly, right, for 3 kids? Or do I accept this city job with NYPD and do what I gotta do? I accepted the job, of course, because I can't do $145.50 every 2 weeks and then still clean a hot park or whatever, right? So I had to also make a choice, because if the deadbeat was there, to at least pick them up from school, do homework with them. That would have lessened their time on the street, getting involved in things they had no business getting involved in, right?
I agree.
So now I'm working overtime because it's me that has to pay the rent, pay the lights, buy the groceries, buy school supplies, buy clothes, get a car and everything else. So I had to make a decision. So with the decision that I had to make, it kind of like threw my kids in a warp zone to where, like, all right, y'all old enough to take care of yourself now, but that gave them too much free time to get into gang activity, to be the statistic, But now when I got married, right, because the baby is 8 and my oldest is 28, so it's a 20-year gap between the baby and the oldest, right? So I did feel guilty because the baby is getting what I desired for all of my children, but it also put a little strain on my marriage because I didn't know how to co-parent.
Right? You did it all that time by yourself.
I did it all that time by myself. So as I hear April talking and how her husband is for me to hear somebody talking that Pootie, like I call Skylar Pootie, excuse me. So, I had to like learn how to be like a Crystal, that's his baby.
Right.
But I never had to go through that with my older kids because I was by myself with them.
Right.
So I had to, do a lot of apologies, like, baby, I'm sorry, but just tone it down just a little bit. But because we not doing that. He'd be like, babe, I'm her dad too. Like,
we need a good bad cop in the house.
With that, and to all of us, I just want to say, sometimes you gotta say, man, F them kids.
I'm not mad at
saying,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
trying to
mine
be
too.
everything, trying to do everything. Sometimes you gotta say, man, F them kids. Right now, you're moving into a new stage.
Yes.
That's why they bugging. So it's gonna level itself out. Do you?
That's
You
right.
got time. Man, F them kids. They gonna be all right.
Because guess what? Let me give her high five. 'Cause guess what? I just turned 49 2 weeks ago, right? And I wanted to be that good mother. Oh, thank you so much. Sis. It was so fantastic. Thank you. So I just turned 49, right? I wanted to be the one. I wasn't gonna have men in and out of my house. I didn't say I didn't date. I didn't say I didn't go
They were supposed to
outside
be
and
in
come
your
back. No man, my kids was gonna wake up and see no man in my bed.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't like the look of that, the feel of it.
That's right.
Well, I wish I did. No, I'm to be honest. We be honest, table talk, right?
Right.
The reason I'm saying I wish I did is because I was so busy. I'm gonna get this right. I'm not gonna let them see me with a man. I'm not gonna play cursing music in the car. I'm not gonna see them, a man yelling or screaming at me. I'm not gonna do all of that because they're gonna be right and do the right and everything's gonna be perfect. And now they're gone and I'm like, oh, I gotta start dating again. How do I do this again? And ain't nothing but pee in the dating pool. I'm telling you right now.
Wow.
But the problem is, if I would have, maybe I would have been married or something. But I didn't want men around my kids because I don't know, who was a child molester, like God, it's crazy out there. So now I'm 49 and I'm like, oh wait, guys, I'm ready to date again. Hello, how we do this?
Well,
and the kids are gone, living their lives, and sometimes the phone rings and I'm like, hello, did my kids call me? Hello, kids, y'all there? So my thing is now I'm giving y'all these years in my life. And now I'm like, hello, daters, is there any good ones out there? So you probably say it again.
Man, F them kids.
But you could have still done that and not have men in your bed.
Well, no,
because
because I'm a human being and I want to be touched.
That's right.
They're gonna be so
That's right.
No, because guess what? No disrespect, you did the right thing. You got married and you going to. Okay,
dating.
yeah, but I'm saying
Oh, yes, she
before. So I'm saying life has its circumstances. I know good men that cheat, good women that cheat. I'm just saying you could do the right thing and it still goes freaking haywire, right? Go ahead to you, madam. I'm so sorry.
On
That's
that
another
note,
subject. Yes.
I just want you guys to give a piece of advice to anyone out there about motherhood. What's some advice that you would give them? Besides F them kids. We already came to that conclusion. But let's just leave them something, that they can relate to. And we'll start this way.
Okay, so I guess if I could say anything, wow, that's like anything about motherhood. I think I'm like a free people mother, like sunflowers, running through the grass with my shoes off. I don't really do that, but that's how I feel. I parent. That's what I embody. But they're gonna be all right. If lead by example, keep communication open because when they stop talking to you, that's when there'll be trouble. So your kids are not gonna embody what you want them to embody if you're leading a miserable life, if you're unhappy in your job, if you're unhappy in your relationship, if you're walking around miserable, why would they listen to anything you have to say? If you're not experiencing joy yourself, why would they want that? So experience a life of joy, experience a life of love, go after what you want with ferocious intensity, and your kids will be okay.
I love it.
So if I could give any type of advice, the advice that I would give is listen to your child or children. They have voices, okay, and they matter, okay. Like yes, we're the managers because God did give us these gifts, beautiful gifts. And again, I'm 47. And my dad just passed next month. I make a year, but I promise y'all, I still say I was not born. I mean, I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask to be here, right? So they have a voice, and I believe that no, you don't let them manipulate and run or put themselves in a position of parenthood. They're still the child, but children have voices just like we're parents and we want to be heard and we want them to do what it is that we want them to do.
sometimes all it takes for us to listen, because we don't understand why they don't want to communicate or why they don't want to comply, right? So just listen to your child and learn their language. Like, it's something me and my husband say when we do the marriage ministry. Know your spouse's love language. You know your child's language. If you know that your child is bubbly, always playing, always outgoing, and then one day they just sad and crying and depressed and don't want to go to a specific place anymore, it's a reason. So learn your children, learn their language, and learn to listen to what it is that they have to say. I promise you, it'll go a lot smoother.
Well, I have a lot of advice, but if I had to think of something today, being that my children are grown, the first thing I would tell parents is make lots of memories. You don't have time to lay in your bed, be sad, be depressed about anything. Lay and make memories, spontaneous. I'm sort of a mixture of you. I believe in having fun, living life. Life is too sad. Darkness is gonna come, sadness is gonna come. Why should it be in our house? This should be a house of fun. Take lots and lots of pictures, journal. I've had baby books. So every now and then I go, close your mouth. I keep everything of my kids. I have their socks when they was little. But my point is saying that is, I still go, they tell me to throw my stuff out. The devil is alive. I'm just gonna get a bigger house. But I have blankets, and these are memories, because the children do want to come back. They want to see the pictures. I don't care if I'm mad at your father. I got 1,000 pictures of their father. Their grandmother just passed away on the father's side. I got all the pictures, because I'm always going to take pictures of stuff. So I don't care what you're going through. Put on your makeup, put on your nice outfit, go out and take pictures. Give these children memories to go back. Instead of only thing they hear is you arguing, fussing, yelling, screaming, we don't have. And if you don't have a lot of money, go make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or tuna fish, cut it in 4, go have a picnic in the park. But make memories with your children, because they are going to remember these days, and you do not want them to remember sadness and heartbreak. Whatever you're going through, don't talk bad about that other father, that mother.
That's right.
Let them grow up and learn it for themselves.
That's right.
Because the more you talk bad about them, it's only a reflection of you.
That's right. Concur with that.
Some advice I would give is that moms, you still matter. You know, we put these children first, and of course we will, because we're caretakers, but you have to be good too. That's why I always promote Self-Care Saturday or whatever, because you gotta matter too. You gotta, like the other lady said, you gotta feel good, you gotta be good, because if you're not good, nobody else is good. No one around you. Let your children, and I'm working on this myself, let your children, make their own path, make their way, and just try to be there and support them. Also, don't be afraid to ask for help, moms. I know a lot of moms out there that are afraid to even say their situation or whatever it is. Do not be ashamed, because there's other mothers out there that also need your help as well. Let's join together, because maybe she has a 2-year-old. I have a daycare. She doesn't know. I have a daycare, and I deal with those temper tantrums and stuff, and I can give you advice, and I can give other moms. We all experience different things. So please, moms, ask for help. Do not suffer in silence. This is not a job just for one person at all. We are a village. Tisha already know, we have her kids, she got our kids, especially those teenagers that's running out there. We all got to watch each other and have each other's back.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna piggyback on what all you beautiful moms have said so far. Basically, yes, listen to your children. I know I have a huge problem with doing that, because I'm a yeller. I'm always on them 24/7, and I do it. This is something I have to learn again. Also to listen without judgment, and gotta take the good with the bad, but at the end of the day, even with the bad, you continue to advocate for your children.
Right.
Even through the bad, you continue to advocate. Love them, let them know that you love them, tell them that you love them. Because there's a lot of homes that moms, dads, the parents, they don't tell their children, I love you.
Right.
Let them know that you love them and they're loved, and you will always be there for them. You're their support system. I will always have your back, even when you're doing wrong. I'm gonna let you know that you're wrong, but I'm still support you in everything that you do.
I love it.
Good.
Tisha.
You guys said so many good things, but for me, I would say give yourself grace. Yeah. It's okay. You're not gonna be perfect. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna do things that are bad. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's it. It's okay. Give yourself grace.
That's good.
That's the word. That's the word.
I think I'm gonna put that up tonight.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace and F them kids.
Thank you
Pause in
guys.
between.
Right, thank you guys for joining us on Mommy Crew Talk.
Yes.
This is episode 1 of motherhood.
Yes.
And please join us if you haven't on the Mommy Crew on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram, Mommy Crew Talks and Mommy Crew. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Next time.
Thanks for joining us.
us.